What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about the altcoin markets today. I think after a little bit of a shakeout like we've seen over the past 24 hours, it's important to get our minds right, get our heads screwed on straight, to keep a clear path of vision for the upcoming days, weeks, and months ahead. Right? We've got some very bullish stuff coming. Okay, it's important to not get shaken out, not be fearful, and to even buy and hold the dip. Right? I want to talk about, and the main purpose of this video is to talk about where I think the average altcoin is going to go by the end of this next phase in the bull market, and then also by the end of the cycle altogether. So if that sounds good to you, we're going to use some charts to paint this picture. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it, okay? So here we are looking at the others, okay? This is the crypto total market cap. Right, it's the total market cap here. If we're looking at the coin market cap chart, shout out to coin market cap, by the way. Love CoinMarketCap, man. They really have updated. Like CoinGecko at one point I thought was better than CoinMarketCap. I like Crypto Bubbles, it's cool too, but they've got, with all this stuff that they've incorporated, man, it is really next level. This is I think that there's all these CoinMarketCap like websites, and this thing just took off where all these other ones fell behind. I don't know what it is, but they got the right team behind them. Anyways, others is where you take the top 125 coins, you tally up their total market cap, and of course it's glitching out on me now, but that's because it's my internet. You take the total market cap, you add it together. It's the top 125 coins deducting the top 10. Okay, so it's basically your altcoin index. It's like the S&P 500, but it's the S&P 115, right? Excluding the top 10 assets. $304 billion now. What we're going to do here is we're going to look at the last cycle, and even actually let's go to the prior cycle, okay? Let's go to the prior cycle, like 2 cycles ago is prior cycle, right? Let's go to the 2016, 2018 cycle here, 2015, 2018 cycle, high to low, and see bull market high to bear market low where we went here, right? We went all the way up to our 1618 area. We had a double top there. Now, I don't want to get into all the reasons why we stopped here, but I actually very much believe that we were robbed last cycle, and we were supposed to continue higher up to the 2272, or at least the $1 trillion mark at the 200 level here. So the 2272 here, 200 level, that's the fib, and then the trillions, that's the valuation of the market cap. Okay, just so we get things straight. I don't want to get into it too much, but basically we had COVID, we had conflicts kicking up in the world, right? Somebody likes to say Russia and Ukraine didn't start until February or January, whatever it is, in like 2022. You think that the world leaders weren't aware of conflicts brewing before then? You don't think that there was writing on the wall, right? These kind of things don't just happen overnight. It seems to you, it seems like it happens overnight, but these things take time and planning, right? And of course, sneak attacks happen, but anyways, we had COVID, we had high inflation, we had quantitative tightening, and all kinds of negative stuff going on in the markets back here. Okay, it really held the DXY was gaining dominance, all these bad things like all together. So the altcoins were held back, but we did go to the 1618. I think that's important to address, okay, because my theory here, my thesis this whole cycle has been that we will go above the 1618 this cycle, and typically what we see is actually the 2272 for most altcoins. For Bitcoin itself, when you do see new all-time highs, you go anywhere from the 1618 to the 2272. Okay, so let's address both of these areas real quick. All right, inevitably, I would expect that we do get to the 2272, but if the average altcoin only goes to the 1618, that's the average performance. Understand that means that the average altcoin sees a 5x between now and the end of this bull cycle. I don't know about you. This is my 3rd cycle myself. I've been doing TA now for about 9.5 years. A 5.5x for altcoins in peak alt season, which we're about to see, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right to me. No, that doesn't sound right at all. But sure, we can have that as a pessimistic minimum. Okay, even here at the 1886 to an 8x to an 11x, now we're getting somewhere, but that even sounds pessimistic. I think that the 2272 and just above there, that's the stopping point that we're going to see. So something on the lines of what would be a 19x to a 21x, 22x, something at a $6 to $7 trillion market cap overall. That's what I think is going to happen. So your altcoins by the end of this cycle should see something on the lines of a 20x. Okay, if you're, and what does that mean? So looking at this here, this is the index. The average altcoin, if you're in crypto and you're not getting let's say a 15 to 25x return, what are you doing? You better be investing in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? You better be investing in Ethereum, because if you're not at least getting those kind of returns, you're messing up this golden opportunity that we have in this altcoin season, this alt cycle that's coming up upon us here. That's my anticipation at least, right? So that's the end of cycle stuff. We got the exciting stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the more immediate stuff going into September here. Okay, hold on. Hey, not right now. Okay, after. Okay. If we're looking at this on the weekly time frame here, again talking about the 1272 to the 1618. If we take this high to the low here, the expectation would be, in my opinion, to go from about $807 billion to 1.5 trillion, and maybe even just above there, because it's very common to go just above the 1272. Perhaps we stop somewhere right smack dab in the middle and we go to $1 trillion. I think that sounds right. You know, anything and everything in between. These are our end of September, next phase of the cycle, where we're going to consolidate next kind of targets, right? What do I mean by consolidate next? I don't think we'll consolidate like this, where it was from December 2024 to April 2025, or March 2024 to August 2024. I don't think it's going to be these half-year-long consolidation phases. I think it'll be like this, where it's like a month to 3 months at the most, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, likely as a consolidation phase. That next phase will be, I think, at $800 billion to $1.5 trillion, give or take, and I'm thinking specifically $1 trillion. That should allow the average altcoin to see anything from a 2.6x to approximately like a 4 to a 5x. So let's just call it a 5x to round it off, right? Because you do go a little bit above the 2272, maybe that's a 5x. So 2.6 to 5x. If you're in the altcoin markets, the altcoin ecosystem, and you're investing, and you don't at least see a 2.6x, what are you doing? If you can't, if you're paying attention and you're buying coins, holding coins that see more than a 5x, you've got a winner. You've got something that's outperforming the average coin. And if it's doing a 5x between now and the end of September or more, or even I would even say if it's doing like a 4x or more between now and the end of September, you'll probably have something that between now and the end of the cycle does a larger than 20x move, maybe a 40x move, 50x. We're getting into 100x potential even. You're only going to find coins like that for the most part that are outside of the top 100 and probably even outside the top 200. Okay, so coins like that aren't going to exist for these high market cap coins. Most high market cap coins will not see a greater than 20 to 30x return, right? But they will happen. There will be coins that do 100x. There will be coins that do multi 100x's, and those coins will likely come from the bottom of the barrel, top 500, top 600, 700 coins, stuff like that. More risk, more reward, but just, you know, pay attention to the ones that are doing anything from at least a 3x, I think would be the minimum standard, to at most a 5x. If you're doing more than a 5x, then you've got a winner. If you're doing more than even a 4x, I would say that you have a winner. Okay, something that'll continue to outperform the markets. So that's really all I have to say, you guys. We could talk about the short-term stuff real quick. I know a lot of people are curious about what my thoughts are on the altcoin markets and how high things are going to go. So that's it. Essentially, anything in the top 500, top 700 coins, I would say. And a lot of people have opinions on this, okay? You'll hear people say, this alt season's different. Not everything's going to pump. In prior alt seasons, everything would move up. But this alt cycle's different. Not everything's going to pump. Well, that's a load of baloney, okay? Everything's going to pump. Look at me. Look at me. Okay? I'm the captain now. Everything is going to pump. Everything. Absolutely everything. It's all going to pump, man. Maybe not all the random meme coins on pump.fun or on your whatever chain. Not every coin that's worth $1 million is going to pump, right? Not every coin that has a less than $80 million market cap is going to pump, but man, everything in the top like 500, if not the top 700, that has some sort of relevance, even to a minor degree, everything's going to pump. So just be patient. You really can't mess it up. The only way that you're going to mess it up is trying to trade this stuff. Whatever you have, right? $1,000, $100,000, multiply it by 20x or more. If you have it spread out across various amounts of cryptos, you should at least hit that by the end of this cycle, which I think will happen going into the quarter 2 of 2026. Okay, if we're looking at this here on the daily time frame, we are shaking out. We've seen a little bit of a drop here from a high, and this is why I was talking about shakeout. Over the past couple days, 10% down so far, right, from a high to a low in less than 24 hours. I think that is a shakeout to some degree. It's a very mild shakeout for crypto. We absolutely could go lower, and I'm not completely convinced yet that this is the end of this little move. If we take the relative low here to relative high, you have hit your 382, which in a strong situation, that is where you'd expect to find support. So if we can move, if the average altcoin across the board starts moving up and we're up about like 5% by the end of today, by the end of tomorrow, the next day, whatever, if we get back up 5% without moving lower, then that's the low. Then that's it. We saw a very modest shakeout, and we're actually a lot more bullishly charged than I would have originally assumed. But looking at it now, we do have a bearish engulfing candle appearance right now. Looking at the RSI, rejecting the overbought zone, that's not good. We got 7 hours left. We'd have to eat back a lot of this if we don't want to reject that. All these indicators here are telling me, except for the MACD, are telling me that we probably do go a little bit lower. We even have this M shape here, where we've got this like double top, and typically you would expect to go below here. So what does that mean? Let's imagine we go below here. Okay, let's actually throw some fibs on there that makes sense for that. You know, I want to use this real quick. If we're taking a high to low here, high to low. Okay, you're at the golden ratio. It's very common, and we've already done this, so we don't have to do this, but it's very common to go from the golden ratio down to the 0.5382 area, which we've already done. You've been productive, so I would expect that we see a higher low here, not a lower low, right? So good. So we're probably not going to go below this low. That's good. Okay, cool. So this fib helps in understanding that, but I don't think it's going to help us in understanding where the next low is going to be. So let's actually take this. Let's go from a high to low here. Okay, we're at the golden ratio. Maybe we go down to our 382.5 area. Okay, something like that. And that would imply that the average altcoin sees another 5 to maybe like an 8% drop from here. So either we have found our low, which I'm seeing enough information here to tell me that it's possible, but I'm seeing some stuff that's rather significant that kind of signals that we have a little bit lower to go. I want to look at the 1 hour time frame. Get rid of this volume because it's just not helpful. Who cares? Let's get rid of that. Yeah, so RSI looks bearish, stochastics look bearish, the MACD looks bearish. I think that we do go down over the coming hours and probably even over the weekend. But after this weekend, going into next week and the end of this month, we should be moving higher. I don't expect that we'll see too much more of a drop across the board. Your favorite altcoins should see at the most like an 8% drop from here, 5%, 4% drop at least. A little bit lower, just a little bit lower, enough to scare people, make them, regret buying the top if they bought the top. And then from there, we will pump. Maybe we go down to the 0.5, maybe we go to the golden ratio. And again, from the current price, current valuation, that would be anything from about a 4% drop to maybe about an 8% drop at the most. So nothing too crazy, nothing wild, but I don't think it's over yet. We'll find support, then we'll continue to rally. Again, expect anything from like a 2.7x from the current prices, let alone from the lower prices, 2.7x to a, I think it was a 5x, right? By the end of September. That's the expectation. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Bye-bye.